I'm going to show you how to gain and keep muscle mass on a carnivore diet, and we're signing right now. I'm Maurice Day here, and this is a follow-up video in regards to gain and keep muscle on a carnivore diet, as I had many audience wanting actually more information covering supplement intake, training, and timing. Now, if you have not watched the other video yet, there will be a link down below in the description. Now, as discussed before, we briefly spoke about simple carbohydrates to be part of your diet for at least, I say, once a week. And it should be consumed based on your body weight. For example, try to consume between 2.5 grams to about 5 grams per 1 pound of body weight, and make sure these carbohydrates are simple, such as white rice, sweet potato, and ripe bananas. Now, the only reason I reinforce this method is we like to see your insulin levels to go back to normal within less than 6 hours, or else if you end up consuming other carbohydrates, the spike will last much longer throughout the night and causing a massive inflammation. Therefore, keep it simple with a single or double feeding until you fall asleep. So moving forward towards supplementation, and this would have worked for me and many of my current clientele. There are 3 main ingredients I like to use and will benefit you in strength and in gains, of course. There's creatine, D-ribose, and leucine. And if you like more information on each of these supplements, I have the link listed below for your review as well. I do not worry too much about whey protein, as we tend to get more than enough in our diet from consuming animal base. But as far as other diets out there, additional whey may benefit. In that case, do add about 5 to 10 grams to your main 3 ingredients. So to break it down for you on usage, in the morning, coffee, 1 cup, mostly for hunger control. The caffeine in the coffee for fat burning would be required between 200 to about 400 milligrams. I've seen lots of audience as well add additional caffeine supplements and or drink an extra cup of coffee. As an average cup will get you close to about 100 milligrams of caffeine. Unless you drink espresso, you get a bit more. Now, to the coffee, you can always add 1 tablespoon of MCT oil. Do not exceed that, as no need. This does put you into ketogenesis, but if you cannot tolerate MCT oil, then instead do add 1 tablespoon of 35% heavy whipping cream. Usually that's what I do on my carb load, as MCT and carbs do conflict for the uptake to your mitochondria. So usually I stay away from MCT for at least 24 hours around that day. So in addition to the morning routine, if you are in a double-digit body fat, then skip the 5 grams of protein. But if you are in a single-digit body fat, it's ideal to add 5 grams of protein to prevent any muscle breakdown. And this is usually done 3 to 4 times a week, no more than that. So that would be your initial morning. Then of course, based on your performance, whether you fast or have your first meal a couple hours after the coffee, that would be your choice. And later in the evening, prior to your last meal, which would be the simple carbohydrates, I would usually do a second coffee about 30 minutes prior of working out. And my second coffee would actually have the followings. You got coffee, 1 cup, of course, 5 grams of protein, 1 tablespoon of whipping cream, all blended. When done, I tend to have half a glass of water with 5 grams of creatine and about 5 grams of D-ribose. Wait about 30 minutes, then I hit the gym. Now, once your training is completed, I mix the followings. I take 10 grams of protein, 1 banana, 5 grams of leucine, 5 grams of creatine, and 5 grams of D-ribose. Once completed, I wait roughly about 30 minutes. Then I start my simple carbohydrates intake. Now, as for the training, here is some of the methods I tend to use. Now, unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 and many gyms are closed, I do use my X3 bar. Now, I am not affiliated with them, nor do I support them, but since I do have the machine myself, this is what I do for training. And the only reason I got into resistant bands is due to the injury with my torn bicep. Now, that said, on that specific day when I hit the resistant bands, usually I will attempt at least 3 sets and roughly about 4 exercises in total, hitting failure in every single set until I hit my lowest range of motion. Therefore, in addition to these exercises, I will post in the description below a few training methods I've done in the gym, and therefore you can practice something very similar. Now let me know down in the comment below if you currently work out at home or a gym and or using an X3 bar or any other equipments you recommend and you are finding quite a bit of good success. Now, as for the main simple carbohydrates meal, this is what I tend to eat. I cook roughly about 2 cups of white rice, and that will yield a total of 6 cups of cooked white rice with roughly a total of about 318 grams of carbs plus or minus. Then my second feeding would consist of either sweet potato and or 2 to 3 bananas. Now heading close to my ideal weight between 2.5 grams to about 5 grams per 1 pound of body weight. And that's it. Very simple. Some of you might get a bit bloated, so I highly recommend taking some digestive enzymes to break down the food and not causing any distress on the gut. And especially if you're new to this method. After the meal, I start my fasting, where I like to see at least 3 hours of empty stomach prior of sleeping. And of course, start my fasting for at least 18 hours. Now the next day, if I feel great, 18 hours will break my fast with coffee and 5 grams of protein. If I don't, it will be black coffee and I'll push myself into 24 hours timing. And the only reason I would not feel great, it's possibly a mixture of protein, fat and carbs causing inflammation. If you are seriously interested in staying active and healthy, make sure to click subscribe button on this page so you can get more videos like this in the near future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.